in order to make it a meaningful conclusion from those kind of collected data, you need to organize them. So if the number keeps on repeating like this, it would be difficult for a teacher to identify how many students have taken 55 marks. Whatever the unorganized data is there, when we classify into different categories, then there will be a loss of information. Everybody, a warm welcome to everyone. I'm Divya, lecturing Vidhyaashram PU College, a temple of excellence. Today we are here with the session 1 of Organization of Data in Statistics for Economics. So without wasting a time, let us look at the topic for today's discussion. The topics that we are discussing today will be introduction, raw data, classification of data, chronological classification, spatial classification, variables, continuous variables, discrete variables, frequency distribution, and how to prepare a frequency distribution table, tally marking, loss of information, frequency array, and bivariate frequency. So this topic and these are the important chapter that we are going to discuss in today's classes. So this chapter is very, very important for you all because you will be able to understand regarding the classification of data. So whatever the sources, that is primary and the secondary sources that you people have collected, so that will be classified here and it will be distributed to the proper classes. So this chapter is very, very important for you all to understand for today. Moving further, introduction for today's class. The purpose of classifying raw data is to bring them into order. So in the earlier chapter, you people have collected, you people have learnt regarding the collection of data, that is primary data and the secondary data. Primary data is called as first-hand data. Secondary data is already been collected data, that is second-hand data. So all the data has to be put in a proper organized manner. So in order to put in an organized manner, we have this chapter called Organization of Data. So in this chapter, you will be able to understand whatever the data you have collected from them, everything will be classified based on their characteristics, based on their attributes. This is the process of arranging data in groups on the basis of certain features. So based on their features, based on the classes, the data will be classified. Organization simply means putting them into order. Classify them according to their features. Classification helps in comparison of data and analysis of the data. Suppose if you go to a library, if you are searching for an economic textbook, so all the textbook, if it is kept at a one place, it will be tedious for you people to get those textbooks. But if it is organized as per the subjects, that is economics, accountancy and business studies, it will be helpful for you people to take up the economic textbook easily. So with the help of organization of data, it will help you to identify the objects, identify the figures very easily, and it is also helpful for further statistical calculation. Moving further, raw data. What do you mean by raw data? Raw data is unorganized data which you have already been collected, but it has not been classified according to their features, according to their attributes. So raw data are unclassified data. It is unclassified. It is not in an order. It is not arranged in a systematic manner. They are highly disorganized. They are not organized. They are not in an order or a systematic way. They are often very large and they are cumbersome to handle it. It is very difficult to handle it. So to draw a meaningful conclusion from them, it will be very difficult. So in order to make it a meaningful conclusion from those kind of collected data, you need to organize them. Raw data is nothing but unorganized data, or it is disorganized form, unclassified data. Moving further, classification of data can be done in a 4 different classification: qualitative classification, quantitative classification, chronological classification, and spatial classification, which is also called geographical classification. Moving forward, let us look at each one of the classification one by one. Qualitative classification, when the data are classified according to the some qualities, when the data is classified according to some qualities, that is age, education, status. So based on certain characteristics, if it is classified, if the data or numbers are put in together, if the data are classified, then it is called as qualitative classification. So when the data are classified according to attributes like the age, like the education status and the caste, based on the attributes, based on the characteristics, if the data are classified, then it is called as qualitative classification. Moving forward, we have quantitative classification. Sometimes we will be receiving, when we go for a survey, we'll be receiving the data. If we go for the census collection regarding the population, so we will be collecting lot of numerical facts, and when the data are classified based on the numerical facts, that kind of classification is called as quantitative classification. When the collected data of such characteristics are grouped into classes which are expressed in terms of numbers, then it is called as quantitative classification. For example, if you wanted to know the sales of a car for a particular year, let's say 2023, what is the number of sales that has happened? How many number of cars that has been sold in the particular year? Such kind of classification is called as quantitative classification. Moving forward, we have chronological classification. When the data are classified based on time, then it is called as chronological classification. So when the data are grouped according to time, such classifications are called as chronological classifications. So in such a classifications, data are classified either in ascending order or in the descending order, with reference to time such as week, month, quarter or years. So if the data are classified based on time, such type of classification are called as chronological classification. So we have an example here: 1910, 1920, 1913. It is just comparing the 10 years of difference, like what is the number of publications they have done. So in 1910, what is the publications, number of publications they have done. So it is nothing but a chronological classification, where it is bifurcating the data or classifying the data based on time. Moving forward, we have spatial classification. So as I have told you earlier, spatial classification is nothing but geographical classification. So if the data are classified based on the geographical locations like district, countries, continent, so based on such things, then the classification will be called as spatial classification or geographical classifications. In spatial classification, the data are classified with reference to geographical locations such as countries, states, cities and districts. So based on the location, For example, during COVID times, so if you wanted to know the active cases or the number of death cases, so you used to refer the statistics regarding what is the country's rate of death, like what is the country's active cases, in which place, in which area, what are the number of active cases we can see. So such type of classifications are called as what? Spatial classification or geographical classification. Moving forward, we have variables. So what do you all mean by variables? You should ask me, ma'am, what do you mean by variables? Variables are nothing but the factors which repeats, the observation which keeps on changing. The variables means which keeps on changing. Variables of some economic factor change from time to time. Such economic factors are called as what? Variables. So as I have told you, the observations keep on varying, it keep on changing. That thing is called as variable, which is not constant, which always varies. The value, the numbers, the numericals, everything varies. Factors vary. Such kind of thing is called as variables. So when it comes to variables, we are of two types of variables, that is discrete variables and continuous variables. So let us look in the next slide what are the different types of variables we have. So we have continuous variable. So what do you all mean by continuous variable? The word itself says continuous variable can take any numerical value. That means it can be an integer, it can be a decimal, it can be a fraction, it can take any numerical value. Such kind of variable are called as what? Continuous variable. So it can be an integer value, it can be a fractional value, it can be the any of the values, it can be the decimal, it can be any of the things. So such kind of variable are called as continuous variable, and the variable can be of any numerical value, that is integer, that can be a decimal, that can be a fraction, etc. Moving forward, we have discrete variable. Discrete variable can take only certain values. It can take only certain values. It cannot be a decimal, it cannot be a fraction, it cannot be a integer. It can be only a certain value. Okay. So its value changes only by finite jump. It jumps from one value to another value but does not take any intermediate value. It jumps from one value to another value but it doesn't take any intermediate value. Like if it is 1, it doesn't take 1.5, it doesn't take 2.5, it doesn't take 3.5. Any of the intermediate value will not be taken into consideration, but it will be only a finite jump. It will have a certain values, but in case of continuous series, it can be any numerical value, whether it is an integer form, it can be a decimal form, or it can be any fractional form. But here in discrete series, it cannot take all the forms, it has only a certain values. Okay, so we have an example put in the screen, a variable like the number of students in a class. Let's say 15 students in a class, 16 students in a class. Can we say that 15.7 students in the class? No. So, for different classes would assume different value that are only whole numbers. It cannot take any fractional values, as I said. Moving forward, we have frequency distribution. So what do you mean by the term frequency distribution? Frequency, the word frequency means the number of value or observation that occurs frequently, that occurs often. For example, we have 50 students in this class that they have scored so many marks, like 50, 40, 60, 70. We have 50 students in the class, but they have scored many marks. But as a teacher, to identify how many students have taken above 50 mark, how many students have taken above 20 mark. If the number keeps on repeating, like 50 again, 55 again, 55 again. So if the number keeps on repeating like this, it would be difficult for a teacher to identify how many students have taken 55 marks. So in such kind of data is there. So to clear the problem, we have in statistics called frequency distribution. Frequency means the number of observation that occurs repetitively. So to distribute, we have a frequency distribution table. A frequency distribution is a comprehensive way. It is a way to classify the data of a quantitative variable, a numbers which is repetitive in nature. So to make sure that all the values are put in a class and to make them easily understand how many students have taken 55, how many students have taken 100, how many students have taken 60 marks. So with the help of frequency table, it will be very easy for a teacher to identify. So as you people want to identify certain things which is repetitive in nature, with the help of frequency table, you will be able to understand what kind of data, how we can distribute it, and with the help of that we can easily identify the different classes or different datas. It shows how different values of a variable are distributed in different classes along with their corresponding class frequencies. The term class frequency means the number of values in a particular class. As I have told you, the number of classes, the number of values in a number of classes. For example, we have, as I have told you, we have marks obtained by 50 students in economics in examination. Those numbers are 50, 40, 60, 75, 35, 25, 27, 48, 92, 10, 100, 65, 57, 42, 38, 55 is again repetitive. We have 0 number, 41, 55, again it is repetitive, 81, 47, 72, 32, 63, 58, 43, 12, 90, 56, 73, 44, 95. So like as on the number is there and the marks that has been scored by a student, but it will be very difficult if we don't arrange it properly. So with the help of this frequency distribution table, it will be helpful for us to easily identify the values. So moving forward, how to construct a frequency table, how to prepare a frequency table. How to prepare a frequency distribution? While preparing a frequency distribution, the following 5 questions should be addressed. First question would be, should we have equal or unequal size class interval, whether it is a sequential or non-sequential? We have to look into that. How many classes should we have? 0 to 10, 10 to 20. So how many classes should we have? 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Like how many classes should we have? What should be the size of each class? Here the size of each class is 10. For example, it should start from 7. 0 to 7, 7 to 14. So on. What is the size of the class should be seen? How should we determine the class limit? What is the class limit? Whether it is 0 to 5 or 5 to 10. What is the class limit we have? Here the class limit is 5. Here the class limit would be 5. What is the class limit we should see? Next, how should we get the frequency for each class should be seen? In this, we have 2 types of method for solving this. One is inclusive method, the other is the exclusive method. If these values are taken as 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So this value, whatever there in the upper limit, that is the 10, should be in the lower limit. So this kind of method we follow, then it is called as exclusive method. For example, again 0 to 10, if it starts from one number increase, that is 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. So if the one number increases, this kind of method is called as what? Inclusive method. So this is exclusive method, this is inclusive method. So while solving the frequency table or while constructing a frequency distribution table, we should determine the class limit. We should understand what is inclusive method, what is exclusive method, whether to use inclusive method or whether to use exclusive method. So in your examination, they might ask you, prepare a frequency distribution table for 50 students by using tally method with the help of exclusive method. So then you should arrange the data based on this kind of exclusive method. So if the frequency here in the previous problem we saw, the lower limit number was 0 and the maximum number was 100. So in that case, they can start from 0 to 10 and they can end up to 90 to 100. So they can solve based on exclusive method. So in the series only, you people have to look after what is the limit that you have to determine, whether to use inclusive method and exclusive method. So if they ask you in the examination, prepare a frequency distribution table, you must be able to solve it. Moving forward, so this with the same example, what do we have? With the marks obtained by 50 students in economics in examination, so with the help of same data, we are preparing the frequency distribution table. Moving forward, marks obtained. So this is which kind of method we have followed? It is exclusive method, 0 to 10, and the same number we are starting it here, that is 10 to 20. So this kind of method is called as what? Exclusive method. So 0 to 10, so as I have told you, the minimum number was 0 and the maximum number was 100. So we have taken 0, we have started from 0 and we are ending it from 100. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90 and 90 to 100. So what is this frequency? In this class 0 to 10, how many numbers have been there? See here, we have how many numbers? Only one number we have, that is 0. No other number is there. So the frequency will be what? Only 1. So 10 to 20. In 10 to 20, how many numbers exist? So 2 numbers exist. See here, we can look into this 2 numbers. That would be 12. The other would be 14. 12 and 14. So 2 and that is 0 and 2. 10 to 20, 2 number exist. So 20 to 30, we have again 2 numbers, 2 frequencies, 2 numbers that has been included. In 30 to 40, 6 numbers are there. In 40 to 50, 11 numbers are there. From 40 to 50, what all the numbers comes will be included here. So 11 numbers we have, 11 frequency we have. In 50 to 60, class we have 9, 60 to 70 we have 7, and 70 to 80 we have 6, 80 to 90 we have 2, and 90 to 100 we have 4 numbers. So we have done this frequency distribution table. With the help of this, we will be doing tally marking. So what is this tally marking? You people have already learnt what is tally marking in your earlier classes. Tally marking is the counting of observation. Have you all heard about this? Yeah, this is tally. This is called as what? Tally. So tally marking is the counting of observation in a class using tally marks. Tallies are grouped in 5. It is grouped as how? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We will cross it. This is called as tally marking. So with the same example, we will be doing tally marking. The example would be 50 students in economics have scored whatever the marks they have scored in the examination. Please take up the screenshot of this and we will be solving the tally marking now. Tally marking. So how many frequencies are there? 0 to 10 class, it is 1. 10 to 20, it is how many? 2. 20 to 30, again it is 2. 30 to 40, it is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay. And 40 to 50, we have 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So 4 tallies to that, 1 cross. This consists 5, 5, 5 and 11. That is total of 11. We have 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next, 60 to 70 class, we have 7 number of observation, that is frequency 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 70 to 80, we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And in 80 to 90 classes, we have 2. 1 and 2. 90 to 100, it is 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is how you do tally marking. So in your examination, if they ask you prepare a frequency distribution table for a given set of observation, you must be able to mark the tally as well and prepare a frequency distribution table by using inclusive method or exclusive method or inclusive method. Moving forward, loss of information. So while collecting the data, while organizing the data, you might lose some of the information. The information what you have got will not be appeared in the information what you get, because we are dealing with group and we are dealing with the classes. We are not dealing with the individual values. We are not dealing with the individual values, but we are only dealing with the group or the classes which we have done earlier. So there might be a chance of losing certain informations. So while summarizing the data, summarizing means while making it, while organizing it, while taking it into a different classes, individual observation, individual values might lose. We are not going to study as a individual values. We are going to study as a group, as a number of observation, as a class. We are not going to study it as a individual value. So individual values might lose its importance or lose its significance. While summarizing raw data into classified data, raw data whatever we got, unorganized data, unclassified data, whatever the unorganized data is there, when we classify into different categories, then there will be a loss of information. All individual observation loses its significance, as I have told you. So all values in a particular classes are assumed to be equal. So we'll be studying the mid values or the class values, but will not study the individual values. Further statistical calculations, whatever we do for the further statistical calculation, we will be studying only based on the values, that is the class intervals, based on the group, based on the class, but individual values we will not study, and not the values of the observation in that class. Okay, for further any statistical calculations, we will be studying the grouped values or classified values, not the individual values. So meanwhile, whatever the individual values are there, some of the information might be lost. It was significant, but it might be lost. Moving forward, we have frequency array. Till now we have discussed regarding the classification of data and the distribution, frequency distribution of data for continuous series. But when we have to deal with the discrete variables, then we have a concept in statistics, that is frequency array. Okay, so till now we have discussed the classification of data of a continuous variable, but in this we'll be discussing regarding the discrete variables. So when we classify the data in discrete variables, we will call it as frequency array. So since a discrete variable takes a value, not a intermediate fraction values between two integral values, we have frequency that correspond to each other and its integral values. So we will, when we are looking into the discrete variables, so we have to distribute as as a frequency array. So frequency distribution is for continuous series and frequency array is for discrete series. Moving forward, we have bivariate frequency distribution. So univariate means we'll be having only single value. For example, if we are studying the sales of a car for a particular period of time, then it would be univariate. It will be what? It will call as univariate distribution, or only we are dealing with one variable. So when we are studying about the two variables X and Y, sales and advertisement. So if we are studying regarding the sales and the advertisement, what is their impact, then we are dealing with two variables. So such kind of distribution is called as bivariate frequency distribution. So the frequency distribution of a single variable is called as univariate distribution, and bivariate frequency distribution is the frequency distribution of two variable, as I have told you, sales and the advertisement impact. So let's conclude today's class by recapping the following topics that we have discussed. The first topic was regarding the raw data. Classification brings order to raw data. Whatever the raw data you people have got, and that data can be classified, that data can be organized in a proper manner. A frequency distribution shows different values of a variable. It shows different values. It will be helpful for you to determine which class it belongs to, and that is frequency distribution that we have studied. And we have also discussed regarding the inclusive method and the exclusive method. Exclusive method, the upper class limit or the lower class limit is excluded in the exclusive method. So 0 to 10, 10 to 20. So this is exclusive method. Both the upper and the lower class limit are included in the inclusive method. That is 0 to 10, 11 to 20. So this is inclusive method. So inclusive method and exclusive method we have discussed, and we have also discussed regarding the frequency distribution, tally marking. So this frequency distribution helps us for the further statistical analysis. So it will helpful for a easy comparison of data in the further classes. Moving forward, so thank you so much once again for attending my session. Hope this session was fruitful and it was interesting session for you all. I hope everybody have understood what are the topics that we have discussed in today's class. So smile is the biggest jewel you people can wear. So keep smiling, stay tuned, stay blessed, and thank you once again.